What's up, y'all? It is Sunday, June the 26th, 2022. Don't worry, we will be out in time for the BET Awards for those who are ready to watch that as well. But let's get this show started.
Since the beginning, they counting this out. Just check the history, know that the system can't stop us. The paper they count came from the blood, sweat, and tears of our people. The pivot, scream greatness and shout. Hate our existence, but really, yet truly, we hold all the power, no route. Brace yourselves when we amount, cause we limitless. DNA royal, not menaces, know that we limitless. Brothers and sisters in arms, so the power be limitless. DNA royal, not menaces, know
This show represents the opinions of the host and his guests. The content here should not be taken solely as medical advice. This show is for informational purposes only. Please consult your healthcare provider or professional for additional information and follow-up.
My skin and the joy make them 1% matter. That fact that the matter. Open your eyes when you look at the mirror and see what I see.
What's up, y'all? Again, this is your boy Thomas Davis coming all the way from the DMV, wishing you a happy Sunday, a happy Father's Day. Continue to all of our men, all of our parents, all of our caregivers. Happy Father's Day. And we are still celebrating Men's Health Month. Look, I am excited to have you on this evening. I'm excited to have this dynamic panel. We are excited to bring energy, engagement, and most of all, continue to move those mountains and break those barriers. But before we jump into the show, I want to say a few things about how you can follow us. Continue to support us, continue to follow us, continue to support me, keep me in prayers, and you can follow me on the following platforms. Instagram, which is Limitless Outcomes. You can follow me on YouTube. Subscribe. Limitless Possibilities LLC. You can also follow me on Facebook, Limitless Possibilities, and on LinkedIn, Thomas Davis LPC. Shout out to my LinkedIn followers who are watching from LinkedIn on tonight. Let us also know that you're here, and you can follow us on Twitter, and you can also follow us on our website, which is on the bottom of the screen. Yo. Whew. I'm excited, y'all. I'm telling you, I miss y'all. Let us know that you are here. Let us know that where you are watching from so we can give you a shout out. Shout out to everyone that is watching from different platforms, whether it's Facebook, whether it's YouTube, whether it's LinkedIn. I truly appreciate each and every one of you. So don't be afraid to let us know that you're here. Don't be afraid to ask the panel some questions because we want this to be an engaging conversation at a such needed time. But before we go into this, I want to do a few things. Like and share this broadcast. Like and share, tag someone that you know that could benefit from this discussion. We want you to engage with us. We want you to know that we are not here to judge. We are not here to look down. We are here to uplift everyone that is watching this show. And if you are watching the replay, we want to give you all the same opportunity as well. Like and share the broadcast, drop your comments in the chat, and I will make sure that to respond to you when time is available. But look, we're going to have a discussion tonight about Man Up. And this show is going to be a very open conversation. And I want to make sure that I am being very transparent about tonight's topic. So if you have, if you are around youth and young adults, and if you feel like that some of the subject area that we may discuss may not be appropriate, please feel free to say, hey, go get some water, but we are not going to be inappropriate. But we may have some discussions that may not be suitable for adults. Today, we're talking about Man Up. Man Up. I see my Uncle Michael is on. Hey, Uncle Mike, thank you for watching all the way from my hometown, which is Danville, Virginia. My mother is watching from Greensboro, North Carolina. What's up, Mom? I love you. Thank you all for watching. But tonight, I'm rushing because I already know the BET Awards come on. I already know the Shy is coming on. I already know some of your other Real Housewives of Atlanta. Everything may be coming on tonight. So I want to get in so we can get out your way so you can have your nights. But look, I love you too, Unc. We are going to be celebrating Man Up and Rising to the Challenge. Man up and rising to the challenge. That's what it's all about, y'all. We are going to be who we are. We're going to put on our big boy J's, and we're going to continue to rise and meet those challenges, those barriers, and those mountains. But there is a photo that's going to pop up on the screen right now, and I want to just read it real quick, and we're going to hop into our dynamic panel, do some introductions, and get this show on the road. There's a quote that I want to read. The ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in moments of comfort and convenience, but where he stands at times of challenge and controversy. The ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in moments of comfort and convenience, but where he stands at times of challenge and controversy. We're going to talk about some of those challenges tonight. We're going to be discussing some of those controversial things and how we rise up to the occasion as men. Ladies, if you're watching, thank you. We salute you. Thank you so much for watching. Don't be afraid to comment. Drop your knowledge in the chat as well. This show tonight is about uplifting us as men, uplifting us as fathers, uplifting us as uncles. Whatever your role and your title is, we want you all to walk away tonight being uplifted. But look, we got some dynamic guests tonight. I'm excited to have Mr. John Rawlins all the way from the West Coast, Mr. Danny Ross, the messages we carried himself all the way from Texas. We got Mr. Rashawn Jenkins all the way on the Beltway of the DMV. And we have Mr. Herm Frazier here as well, all the way from our nation's capital. We got a diverse panel, and we're going to get this conversation started. But we're going to talk about healthy living as well. Healthy living. What does it mean to have a healthy life? Do we feel good? Are we thinking positive? Are we eating better? Are we exercising often? And yes, Thomas is going to talk about some of those eating habits that he got to change to lose his stomach. Thomas got to talk about how he needs to eat better. So those are some of those barriers and mountains that I'm moving as well. So again, we're going to have the open discussion. Without further ado, and it's 7:08, and I want to take the remainder of this segment to let the panel share out. Without further ado, I want to bring on Mr. Danny Ross.
Since the beginning, they counting this out.
My boy, what's up, Danny?
What's going on? How you doing?
Man, I'm doing awesome. How you doing, brother?
Oh, I'm doing well. It's pretty hot down here in Texas.
Listen, it's hot up in here in this house, and I'm inside the house.
I can imagine. Imagine.
Are you ready for this discussion?
I am totally geeked. I'm ready. I'm excited. As my pastor back at home used to say, I'm upsided.
All right. What is one thing that you want something to be taken away tonight? What is that one thing?
I think one of the things that I want people to take away is that although men can present or project certain things, there is a subtleness, I want your approval. There's a number of things that men really want, but we have been told that we can't ask for those things. And so when you're in a position to help a brother out or to affirm him, go ahead and help him be affirmed. And I think I want people to know that brothers want to be affirmed more than we let on.
Awesome. So we're going to be talking about some affirmations. Thank you, Danny Ross. Now let's bring on Mr. Rashawn Jenkins. Come on, Rashawn.
Since the beginning, they counting this out.
What's up, sir?
How are you all?
How you doing?
Doing well. Good.
It's hot here. It's hot here, right?
It's hot. It is hot. It is very hot.
So, Rashawn, what is one thing that you want our listening audience to walk away with?
Oh, that you are a work in progress.
Whew.
That you are allowed to be, you are allowed to be gifted and talented and powerful and a total mess at the same time. And to learn how to be patient with yourself, because where you are now is not going to be the same place that you're going to be tomorrow or next year or 10 years from now. That you are a work in progress, and to embrace that fully, and to not let us, and to not let allow for other folk to make you feel like you have to have it all together or you have to have all the answers. You're allowed to be
Minister.
full of potential and yet a complete mess at the same time.
Well, let the church say amen, Rashad.
Amen. Amen.
All right, all right, all right. All right, let's get this discussion. Let's bring in Herman and John as well. Come on, fellas. Come on, come on.
Beginning, they counting this out. Just
Yo, I'm scared to ask y'all too what y'all want to take away, but let's jump into this discussion so we can make sure that we give time for you all to share out equally. All right, we're going to talk about the whole man. There is an image that's about to pop up. The whole man. And in order for us to sometimes understand who we are, we got to understand what the whole man looks like. And the whole man may be something different to one than the other. But out of everybody's different perspectives, there are some things that we all have in common. We all have the emotional side. We all have that interpersonal side of us. We have that professional side, that physical side, the wealth, the environmental factors, and something that we don't like to talk about, that mental piece. This is the whole person. This is the whole man that we're going to be talking about tonight. So we're going to be talking about the physical. What's up, TE? We're going to be talking about the educational, book smarts versus street smarts. We're going to be talking about some emotional stuff. We're going to be talking about some professional stuff. We're going to be talking about some of those intimate sexual connections. Why is it important for a man to be intimately connected with their person of choice? We're going to talk about all of that. Now, are y'all ready for it?
Yeah.
Go. Let's do it. Let's go.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. I just wanted to make sure that I did the disclaimer that we're going to have some open conversation. So let's talk about, as we go into understanding who we are, one of the things that we as men, we pride ourselves on is that physical appearance, right? We pride ourselves on making sure that we look the part, making sure that we feel good about ourselves, even when we don't think that we don't feel good about ourselves. We are an individual that are focused on our physical attributes. So when we talk about physical, fellas, I'm talking about what we see, how we look, and what we want. So let me start with Herman. Why is it important for us as men to be physically in tune or aware?
So Herm Frazier here. I think that it's important for men to be physically in tune. When I hear that, first of all, when I hear that, I don't just look at it from like an outward thing, like inward, like, you know what I mean? So, you know, a lot of men, especially in African American culture, don't go to the doctor, they don't go to the dentist, they don't go get massages, and they don't go see the therapist, you know, even though that's on the emotional side of things. I think all of those things are important because by doing so, you know, you can avoid some of those health risks and things that so many of us in our community are subjected to. So to me, I think that's what is important for men to know, like in terms of being physically attuned and aware.
I loved it. I loved it. Talk to us, John. Talk to us, John.
No, I mean, I think it's very important for us to be physically aware. I mean, on one hand, I think we understand we have to take care of our bodies. That's an active thing that we have to do on a regular basis. Being, you know, paying attention to what you're eating, paying attention to things that you're drinking. Like we all, of course, have things that we enjoy that we know we probably shouldn't enjoy as much as maybe we do, right? So we have to make those decisions that will help point us in the right direction, and also understand that over time our bodies change, our bodies shift. So the bodies that we have in our 20s are not going to be the bodies that we have in our 30s and 40s and beyond, right? So some of the decisions that we make, really all the decisions that we make early on, are going to help us in the long run, towards the end. And I think if as men, we think in the moment, right? We think about what I want right now, what feels good, what tastes good right now, not thinking about the impact of that decision 15, 20 years down the line. And especially as men of color, as Black men, we also have to understand that we are attached to what happens to our parents, what the things that our parents have generationally brought. I know in my family, diabetes has been a thing, high blood pressure has been a thing. And so I've had to make some decisions about my own physical health that have, I understanding what my father and my grandfathers have brought with and we carry, to shift the narrative. That was something that was really important for me, shifting that narrative. And so I think that's part of the reason we have to be attuned and aware, is because it's one of those things that long lasting, even as we think forward. What are we giving to the next generation of men and women in our family? What are the things that they're going to have to deal with that we can prevent them from dealing with now?
I love that. I love that. So when we talk about this, and I'm going to venture off to you, Danny. When we talk about the physical, like what we see, right? How we look, what do we want others to see? What do you think that really means? Like, because what we see is sometimes what it is. For me, I got this right here, but that's what I see. But what I may will want is not to have this as much. So just talk to us about this whole importance about being physically aware and in tune.
I think this is a great conversation, because I was talking to my men's group on yesterday, and we were just talking about creating some new goals and how we're going to reach those goals. And one of the things that we started to talk about, a lot of times when we get ready to get back into our fitness kind of routine, we want to go back to that routine that we had 5 years ago or 10 years ago. And when you start that routine and you realize, like, ooh, I'm 5 minutes in, I don't even want to let me go get me some ice cream. You create that cycle of defeat in that moment. And I think one of the things that we have to do is give ourselves permission as men to start over. When we stop is when we die, but we get to start over. And is it just about the looks? No, it's not about the looks. It's about so much more. So much is interconnected. And sometimes we just need to know when we need to adjust. And I'll just say that goes through every aspect of our beings. Sometimes we need to know when to adjust and not keep the same pattern that we normally have.
Wow. Listen. All right, Rashawn, that was a great segue into you. Talk to us, sir. Just talk to us.
So it all started for me last year after going through something, and then going to check in with my doctor and realizing that I was pre-diabetic and on the verge of hypertension. And coming from a family with kidney disease and all of that sort of stuff, I had to do some things differently, not so that I could have a six pack, but so that I wouldn't be on dialysis and I could keep my fingers and toes.
Right.
So once you start looking at it like that, then it is understanding that we as Black men are more susceptible to certain diseases, colon cancer, prostate cancer, hypertension. So it's there are some folk, and as much as I want to wear my hoochie daddy shorts and all the things that come with it, I'm in the gym so I can live. I'm in the gym so I can walk up the 3 flights of stairs in my home. So it for me, it's not just about quote unquote looking good, because that's all relative. It's about making sure that I'm able to live the highest quality of life that I can in this body while having a human experience.
I love that. And so, y'all, listen. Thank y'all. We're gonna hop around. Oh, there's a comment from Mr. Nickens. He says, I agree that some men are not in tune with their bodies. I need a massage myself. Self-care is very important. Yes, Mr. Nickens, self-care is extremely important. And when I talk about physical awareness and being in tune. It goes to what Brashawn just said. It goes to what John was just talking about. We're not always so busy trying to worry about the muscles and this. And y'all see this growing though, right?
Come on now.
But we ain't talking about that. We're talking about the physical and the quality of life. Instead of shaking the salt shaker, let's avoid that. Being physically aware of the warning signs of your body when it's telling you it's tired, when it's telling you that it needs sleep. That's what I'm also referencing. We gotta be physically aware and in tune and think about what we are seeing, what we want, and how we're going to get there. But look, let's jump into this question. Is it ever too much? Do we spend sometimes as men too much activity, too much energy, too much emphasis on physical awareness? Now we're talking about the outer shell, what we see and what we look like. Brashawn, talk to us.
I'm a fashion designer, so I work in the fashion industry. So
Okay.
I get paid to make people look and present a certain way. You can look and present a certain way and be a total mess. And so you can speak fluent Italian, Gucci, Prada, Dolce and Gabbana, and still feel like you want to kill yourself. So I think that the things that we need to understand is that all of these things that we do to the outside of us should match what's going on the inside of us. And if you are really and truly in love with yourself and you exude a certain thing, I can make Walmart, Target, and Marshalls and Ross look like Neiman Marcus if I'm able to carry it that way.
That's right.
We start talking about our physical awareness and what that means, that outside. There have been times in my life where I've looked good on the outside and been a complete mess on the inside, and that was last year. So I just think that we have to be cognizant and be aware.
Loved it. I loved it. Herman, talk to us, Herm. Talk to us, sir.
Me personally, I don't think that you can be, too much in tune to like your physical awareness. My girl, she'll tell you, like, she second anything come on her body, any new mole, any scratch, anything, she going to the doctor. Like, you know what I'm saying? And by her being like that, I appreciate that. You know what I mean? Like, the older you get, he made a good point earlier. Like, your body's changed and stuff. You start getting moles and scratches and stuff that you ain't never had in your earlier years. So when that stuff start happening, man, you gotta be in tune with that. You gotta do self-evaluation, body scans, et cetera, et cetera. So me personally, no. And then I think your physical presentation is the first thing people see. I know they say looks and stuff don't matter. It's not everything. That is the first thing people judge you on. So I do think they need to go to, get your head done, get your head cut, and practice like good self-care. But that's my two cents.
Talk to us, John.
Well, no, I definitely agree. I think there can be that line. Again, Brashawn said it correctly. I think you have to make sure that the mental aspects, the emotional aspects of your life are also being addressed as well as the physical. But they all can coincide at the same time. So just I guess a personal story. So I've been in a place, I think people most times would call me a happy guy, someone with a lot of energy. But let me be honest, 80 pounds ago, that was a whole different kind of push to be happy or push to even encourage folks and to be that person in the space. 80 pounds after, right? I'm in a very different place, but I would say mentally and physically and emotionally, things are more aligned. And I'm noticing now, even in that transformation, that other folks notice that and they see that, right? So it's not just, you look better, but it's like just overall, you seem happier, you seem healthier, you seem just more effervescent. I'm using somebody else's words that they gave me, right? And it's true. And all of those things together create that wholeness that I would say right now I'm in probably the best overall shape I've been in a very long time, if ever. And I can appreciate that. So I do think you have to make sure that all those things are aligned and all those things are being addressed.
So, John, when your Instagram blow up tonight, Don't blame limitless possibilities or move mountains or break barriers. Okay.
I'm not doing this with you.
Daddy, talk to us. Talk to us, sir.
Yeah, I think so much of the whole physical thing. I think about what have we been told, our messaging from years and years past. And some of that messaging says you take care of your family, you make sure the bills are paid, you go to work, you be honorable, be a good citizen, and you don't make room for yourself. And when I think about that physical, we have to teach a new normal as to there's no them without you if you don't take care of yourself. I've just been hearing a lot of conversation and sessions in my groups to where you're the sacrificial lamb for the family. And I always think about like you take care of your family so well that you leave nothing for yourself when you need to be taking care of yourself and honoring yourself. But we lose the kids with leave the kids without the opportunity to take care of themselves, then transition into supporting you when you need assistance. So that's my take.
Ooh, okay. Look, that is very key. That's very critical because we sometimes forget about us, right? Because we too busy tapping into everyone else. So for those that are watching, for those who are streaming tonight, let us know what is some of the physical things that are important to you. We want to hear from you tonight because we are pouring out. The panel is sharing their truth, and I'm going to share some of my truth as well. We want you to join in because this is how we free ourselves. Because some of us, and sometimes we as men, we like to keep ourselves in this bubble. But we have a lot of stuff here, but we never have those safe spaces and places to let it out. But you got it tonight. All right, let's talk about some educational stuff. One of the things that I love about being a black male therapist here in the District of Columbia and in Maryland and Virginia is that we pride ourselves on academics. We pride ourselves on knowledge. We make our subject verbs agree. You got to say certain big words. But there's also a part of us that we got sometimes do the book smarts versus the street smarts. But I saw some data that I want to go over, and there was something that popped up, and I was doing some research as we were preparing for the show, and it says only a quarter, which is 26.7 black men hold a college degree. And this is from www.edtrust.org if you want to go back and quote the site. But what are your thoughts about that? Only 26.7% of black men hold a college degree.
Can I throw into that?
Yes.
I think a lot of that has to do with availability, accessibility, and support, because we all know that participating in higher education has to do with support and exposure. It has nothing to do with how smart you are. And I intellectually have been stretched, and I learned some new vocabulary, and I learned some procedures, but I'm not really any smarter than I was as an infant. So I think that we do have to. What we should always do is to tell people that their higher education and whatever education that they receive matches their purpose. Because
there you
at
go.
the end of the day, we do things trying to impress people who really don't care. And so if what we're doing does not match the journey, then we're ill-equipped. And if I could tell the truth with my educational journey, I would have done it a lot differently had I been a lot more purpose-driven instead of building a consensus about what I should be doing. Because there are things that people wanted me to do or family members wanted me to do, but there were things in my heart and my spirit I knew I should be doing. And so here I am in my late 40s trying to redo some things I should have done earlier. So we should get all you can, but make sure that it matches the journey that's before you.
Whew. Listen. Gianni said, "Can clap." Rashawn, thank you so much for that. Jasmine, can you put that stat up again, real quick? Because I I want to tap into this in on a different side. Only 26.7% of black men hold a college degree. It goes back to what Brashawn said early on. We got to go out and normalize education. We got to go out and get people to figure out what their goals are, what their dreams are, what their purpose is, what do they want to do, and then connect them with those particular resources and academias so they can engage in academics. But let me let Mr. John, because John has a great profession. He's up there on the West Coast, and I want him to tap into this data.
No, absolutely. Yeah, I've been working in higher education for 16 years. Like this is literally what I do day in and day out. And I agree with Rashawn. I think one of the things we have to always take into context is the access to education. I also think you have to really think about for those who feel that this path will lead them to what they want, right? Some of this is also about exposure, right? If I've never been on a college campus, if I've never had the opportunity to engage with other individuals who are on, who've been on a college campus or have that educational experience, I may not necessarily see it for myself. And I think that's one of the things that I try to do with our students. I have students who they come to college because naturally that's the next step or that's the next progression. I graduated from high school. And because I graduated from high school and may have been one of very few people in my family to do that, the expectation is now that I go to college. And when I get there, I don't know what I want to study. I don't know what I want to do beyond that. And so the analogy I use all the time, I have students who have worked at Jamba Juice all in high school. They get to college, and in their mind, when they graduate, I'm going to go back to working at Jamba Juice in the same position at Jamba Juice, not thinking that with a business degree, maybe I could potentially be working for Jamba Juice on the corporate side, working in HR, helping other individuals to own and franchise locations of the restaurant, right? So it's the exposure piece I think is also very important. But for me personally, the work that I do, I'm the director of the Black Student Center at California State University, San Marcos. So I literally get to work with our Black students on a daily basis, but also advocate for their needs on campus. And I think it's one of those things where for those who do decide to come to college, it's okay. Again, like you said, what is the path? What is the goal? What do you want to do? And what are the things that will help you to get there? So providing those opportunities for them to grow, to expand, and then to take those next steps afterwards, whatever those may be.
Thank you. Thank you. I want to add a little curve question in here, and I want to start with Danny and end the question with Herman. What if I just am a person that don't want to go to college?
I think that's a great question for me. I have worked in early childhood through 12th grade, and I think that's there's absolutely nothing wrong with not going to college. However, you do need to have some sort of plan in place. These young people are showing me things that I know that is going to exceed my income quickly. Because they think beyond what you're teaching in that moment. So I'm oftentimes excited about ways that they're going to surpass our ideals of what education is, learning is, because they're open. But I do say have something that you're passionate about. Your passion is always going to create a career if you're passionate about doing the necessary steps to create what needs to be created from the problem that you solve.
Right. That's good. That's good. That's good. Herm, so I don't want to go to I don't want to go to college. I barely graduated from high school, but I could tell you how to put this and that together. Talk to us, Herman.
It was funny that you said that because that's actually where I was going to go when I saw that statistic of 26.7 black men not going to college. That was actually the route I was going to take. College isn't for everybody. Like, going back to, in the early 1900s when W.E.B. Du Bois and Booker T. Washington had their debate, that we should be intellectual knowledge and we should more agricultural land. I think both either wrong. I think like Danny said, like it's industries that currently exist that didn't exist when we was in high school. Like it's millionaires getting paid off YouTube, social media influences and stuff like this. The social media influence. I still don't know what it is, but I seen some of my students. I'm a school counselor by trade too, so I seen students like not go to school. I've seen students go to MIT and Harvard, and I've seen them do relatively well for themselves too. So I don't think college is necessarily for everybody, but I do think everybody should have a plan. Even going to college, I think you should have a practical plan in place. I don't think you should just go to college, get a whole bunch of debt, if unnecessary debt and stuff like that. Just somebody pushing you. That's kind of what our generation did. So I don't think college for everybody, and I do think that a practical plan needs to be in place for anybody out there.
Plan, adjust, and stick with it. What all of you all are saying tonight so far. If I may tell a little bit of my personal business, I know my mom is on tonight, so she's gonna tell y'all in the chat if I'm lying. But when I graduated high school in 1997, college was not my thing. No, I'm not going to college. I just want to just chill. I'm thinking ride up and down the street on Sundays was it. My mother looked at me one day and she said, two things are going to happen. Three things. You either going to get a full-time job at Goodyear Tire and Rubber. You either going to go to the military, or you're going to go to somebody's college and university. Alex, I take door number 3 because I know I am not a military guy, and I was not trying to be working in no tire plant with a 200-degree weather. So I made the decision to go to college. Did I take it seriously my first and second year? If I'm very honest, I did not. But when those loans get in your name and your family say, I ain't paying no more, reality sinks in. So sometimes, fellas, we have to, the purpose of this is to let you know, sometimes we got to go through something in order for that light bulb to come on and hold us accountable. All right, so let's talk about this real quick. I'm going to start with Herman, and then I'm going to go to Brashawn. Why? Educate us on the difference between being street smart and educationally smart.
Let me start.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, cool. So for me, when I hear the word street smart, I think of like critical thinking. Like being street smart is being able to navigate this world. Like going to college ain't necessarily like the answer. That's another misconception that's out there too. You think you're gonna go to school and just like the world is supposed to just drop into your lap. I really thought that when I went to college, and I got a master's degree. But I've done relatively well in my career, specifically against some of my counterparts, because of being able to critically think, navigate, talk to people, adjust, adapt, meeting people where they at, which I didn't even know was a skill that I had, which is a skill that I didn't even know I had. But I think also on the flip side, that being a student is a job. Like, when it's like, check that box, like you could be smart and be a good student. Like being a student is really like it's certain principles and certain qualities that you kind of have to possess and lock in and on for you to be a good student. So I think they both are equally important. But if I had to pick one, I would rather be street smart and know how to have a little bit more practicality to kind of navigate this world.
Love that. Talk to us, Bashar.
I think that one of the things that we always have to do with anything, because we all know that academic training ain't gonna take you but so long. You got to have some good sense and common sense that goes along with that. A lot of that comes with experience. But I do think that one of the things that many people do lack, even though they're brilliant and amazing, is they lack discipline and grit. You got to be disciplined. You got to be disciplined, because we come in this world looking like our parents. We die looking like our decisions. So we have to make sure that every day that we get up, we are making the best decision possible based upon the information that we have and exercising wisdom. And, and I say this because I'm an educator, taught on all these different levels. But the one thing that I am consistently, when students start telling me, well, I want to do this, or I want to be this one day. And I say, and you will be all of those things if you are consistent in your discipline. Because if not, a dream without discipline is a wish. And so we need to start doing that. I just wish that everyone had the type of parents that many of us had who grew up in segregation, who understand that everything that all the privileges that we enjoy were once things that were dreams of someone else, and people didn't have the opportunity for. So how I repay my ancestors and the God who made me is by making good decisions and walking in discipline. Do I get it right? No, but I try. And I fail a lot. I'm quoting Mercedes on P Valley. I fail a lot, but I try to fail forward.
Daddy, talk to us, Daddy. Talk to us, Daddy. Talk to us.
I want you to repeat the question for me, because I want to make sure that I capture street smarts versus formal smarts. I thought I had it right, but I guess to me, I do want to talk a little bit about how they kind of triggers me a little bit, because my mom used to always say, boy, you got all that education and you so smart, but you ain't got no common sense.
Mm-hmm.
And that has haunted me to this day. It wasn't that I didn't have common sense. I just didn't think like her. I was very who was that talking about the type of thinking? I was very I knew how to calculate and figure things out.
Right.
I didn't think like her. Why didn't you get me 4 bags of sugar when you knew the sugar? I don't think like you. So I think about how things like this, categorically, one is bad, one is good. I think I was a mixture of both, but based on our culture, it's also based on your culture, your inner culture, the people in your family, how they decide what is. Are you street smart or are you just book smart? And so, kind of a little trigger for me.
We here. All right, so let's jump into this personal thing, because I'm looking at the time and I want everyone to be able to get out and go watch their stuff. This question here is the center and the nucleus of this show tonight. We as men, we got to learn how to improve relationships. First with ourselves, because if we don't have a good relationship with ourselves, it's not going to transcend and transfer over to others. So when I was talking about this in my head, I said, Thomas, what do I really want us to say tonight to someone that is watching, someone that may have a question, someone that may be in a particular holding pattern? I want to start with John on this question. What truly makes us happy holistically, as we talking about the whole man? What truly makes us happy?
I feel like
what makes you happy?
Well, for me, what makes me happy is, one, I'm a creative, right? So in addition to doing my work formally or my profession, I'm a creative at heart, right? I'm an artist, songwriter, singer, all that kind of stuff. So for me, being able to create and have space to do that, to take an idea or something that, you know, landed up here, and to see it manifest in an event, see it manifest in the production of a song or something like that. Like, those are the things that make me happy. And I think part of what makes us happy as men is when we know ourselves enough and understand what are the things that we are passionate about. A lot of times it seems like we just kind of get to these places and spaces where we're just doing things to do them, right? Because either somebody else has told us we have to do these things, or society says this is what we need to be. But when you understand who you are, that's what starts you getting on the path of what could make me happy, right? Yes, I have an Ivy League degree and some other degrees, and those are cool. Right. And I have that book smart, kind of going back to what we talked to. But my fulfillment happens really in creative spaces, or when I have the opportunity to be creative. So that's ultimately what's going to make me happy. And those are the kind of experiences that I need to be going for and pushing for. So I think when you're thinking about holistically what makes us happy, is like, who are you? And then from there, you can start to formulate that.
Love that. Talk to us, Herm. Talk to us.
I'm glad that he set the bar with that one, because usually when I hear people say, like, what makes you happy? I got a quote. So I was watching a movie or something one time, and they told me, like, happiness is an emotion. Like, I think peace is where we really search for is like peace. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm happy
Mm-hmm.
sometimes, I'm angry sometimes, and I own those emotions when I'm in those spaces. But I think this is the ultimate thing that I search for. But he used the word fulfillment. I like that word. So when I think of being fulfilled, I coach basketball too. Coach basketball. So when I'm coaching my youth and we traveling and I get to the country and I'm exposing them to other things. I'm also an athletic director too. Like being in the sports room, after a long day of work, it's like that's when I'm not thinking about nothing. That's when I'm in my most natural element, being myself, high energy, over the place. I think that's what makes me happy in terms of like, for me anyway. Like,
Gotcha. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Danny, talk to us. But before you do, there was a comment that was in the chat from Mr. Justin Leach. Justin said, and I agree with you, Mr. Leach, 110%. Peace is more important than happiness. Peace. Talk to us, Danny.
Yeah.
Great comment. Great comment right there. I really, really agree. I was thinking about a lot of times you can't just knowing you can't receive what you don't ask for. And a lot of times we want requests honored and we're not asking for our needs to be met. And a lot of times I spend a lot of time articulating my own needs, and I do that with my clients because I'm like, if you can't articulate it, you can't necessarily ask for it. And how you're going about asking for needs being met may not get you there. So, one of the things that for me that makes me feel happy is just being able to be authentic, to be myself. I'm country. I'm from Mississippi. I love a good small town. I go there to just center myself, and I'm like, boy, these folks don't know I am so country. I love that simplicity. I
Right.
love that authenticness. So that's really what makes me happy, just the simplicity in life.
Love it. Love it. Rashawn, talk to us.
I think that one of the most important things that we have to teach people how to do is to really participate in the new Negro in the Niagara movement, where we understand that we lift while we climb. That anything that we have is in service to someone else, that you can take care of yourself and take care of your family and still help people and still cultivate and and nurture and develop community at the same time. I'm concerned that this new generation of African Americans and African American achievement is very me centered rather than being very we centered, where we burned the bridges, Clarence Thomas, of the programs and the programming that got us where we went, and then we forget that those were the places that gave us seats at the table. So, and I say this as a third generation college grad, understanding that I have a responsibility that and while we have education, we don't have trust funds. So we still getting up and going to work every day. When I bought my house, I saved for 8 years to save the down payment. When my white colleagues bought a house, they got it from their parents. So we have to look at the fact that, especially as African American men, it will take us 256 years, quoting the Pew Charitable Trust, to catch up with white wealth. 256 years, and that is forgetting about a pandemic and war and stuff as is. So we are still behind. No matter if you went to Morehouse and Harvard at the same time, you still behind, friend. And so we can still do this in community.
And wow.
All right.
Yeah.
Black man.
Look. Show over. As Brashawn was talking and sharing this, it led me to go into this next question. And I think this is the biggest question of the night about relationships. I think that is something that we as fellas, homeboys, some frat brothers, friends, we sometimes don't like to really talk about is what is a healthy relationship, whether it's with your friends, whether it's with your family, whether it's with yourself, whether it's with the intimate partner. Like, how can we commit in 2022? How can we develop and foster relationships? What are some of those barriers? What are some of those successes that we have as we discuss tonight, fellas? Relationships. I'm going to start with John first, Then I'm gonna take it over to Danny, and then following suit.
Actually, Rashawn's like chomping at the bit on this one. I think
That's why I left. Look, I'm saving it for last.
I know. Oh, trust me, I would have done the same thing. When it comes to relationships, for me, I think the biggest thing about relationships is being able to be authentic. And somebody was talking about authenticity a moment ago, right? When we're at work, when we're in certain other situations, we may be able only to kind of give part of ourselves, or there's a focus on, the need is this aspect of you right now. For me, in relationships, be them friendships, intimate relationships, what have you, I want to have the ability to be my full authentic self, right?
Right.
My silly self, my creative self, the times when I need to express emotionally, when I'm not feeling my best, I want to be able to do that and have those individuals around me who are going to support me through that. So I think for me, in any relationship, you want to be able to be authentically yourself, fully yourself, and not have to hold back on any aspect of that.
Withholding nothing.
That's right.
Talk to us, Danny.
John, I think you summed it all up. I think the authenticity, again, it rules for me because I think when you get this freedom to be yourself, we're in a world that doesn't allow you to always show up to be your authentic and true self. So when I get in spaces or around people who look like me, I'm just free. I worked in a space that was probably 90% other. And so having to go through that every day, I wanted to come home to a space to where I could be me. I could be around the people who make me feel like I fit in and like I belong. So yeah, that's important. Authenticity.
Herman, talk to us.
Man, I ain't gonna hold you. I hate to echo that, man, but like that authenticity, man. Going back to the street smarts part, like that's like where a lot of people where I come from, man, they just like, you made it, man. You doing such a good thing, man. I just been being myself. Like you'll be surprised how far that take you. And like even like we hear the words code switch and stuff like that. Like I don't necessarily like the word code switch. You get what I'm saying? Like I got an urban dialect. I'm from the inner city. And I used to be insecure about stuff like that because I thought you got to speak with us like King's English when you get in a certain little place and stuff like that. Then I realized, man, that takes too much energy, it's too much anxiety, et cetera, man. Just be yourself. And I find that to be the best for my relationships,
Right.
And then also add, man, back on somebody's boundaries, man. Like boundaries is everything in a relationship as well. Like, you go and respect my boundaries, and I'm going to respect yours. Like,
Love it.
But
Love it.
I think boundaries and authenticity.
Love it. Rashawn, we all saw you talking, so let's go.
The theory of social exchange says that for every relationship that is not mutually beneficial to most parties will eventually end. We need to embrace the fact that every relationship that we enter, even if it's one with ourselves, if it is not mutually beneficial, will have an expiration date. I'm learning. I'm learning as I just turned 46, and I lost a lot. I lost a lot in the pandemic. I lost a lot of ideals. I lost a lot of people who I thought would be there forever, and they didn't die. They left on purpose. I realized that instead of mourning the loss of the relationship, I need to celebrate the fact that the relationship had an expiration date, and to celebrate that two things cannot occupy the same space at the same time. So if you left, it was because you couldn't stay. So you needed to go to make room for what God divinely has for me. But that had to happen when my mindset shifted. And so we need to also understand that we should not go any place or be in any relationship, family, friends, or social where we are being tolerated. I don't go places I'm tolerated. I go places I'm celebrated. And if I can't be celebrated, then I don't stay. And neither should you.
All right. Thank you, Rashawn. Danny, as we talk about emotions, and we talked about what Rashawn just shared. Stop staying in dead places. Stop watering dry soil. Stop trying to bring things to life that has left us. As we talk about the emotional side and some of the messages that we carry, what do you think are some of the barriers that we as men carry with us on a daily basis?
I think the biggest one for me is you're the only one. You are the only one. I could just say only one for everything. The only one to take care of mama, the only one to take care of the kids, the only one to be at work, to only we are the only one. And I want to change that a little bit to where it's inclusive of support. We need to be in a place to where we feel comfortable receiving support. And it has to become a way of life versus something that's forced because we have to.
Mm. So, John, let me talk to you about this. Do we ever find those
Mhm.
spaces or places for us to do what Danny is talking about?
I think we have to be diligent about finding those places and having those places, right? Because on one hand, again, you might not find that place at work and you have to
Mhm.
go to work, right? So dare I exist and live in a place that I can't be myself or dwell and find I let me tell you something. No, that's not going to happen. So I have to be able, outside of work and the things that I have to do, I need to be able to have those spaces where I can just be, where I can just exist and it not be questioned, and I not feel like I have to perform, because that's
Mm.
the worst part of it. At work you have to perform, do tasks, get things done.
Mhm.
But there has to be spaces that you are allowed to just be you, where you don't have to perform. Who you are is more than enough.
Love
Mhm.
that. Love that. Rashawn, answer this question. What is something that you're comfortable in sharing that you have had to overcome as being a man, period?
Learning the appropriate places to put my vulnerability.
Mhm.
Understanding that everybody does not deserve my vulnerability, and learning when to give it and when to take it back. And so I've struggled with these things. I'm struggling with learning how to say no. I'm learning how to leave a table when love is no longer being served.
Mm.
I struggle with that because I'm called to serve people, but as our panelists have kept saying over and over again, you can't be self-sacrificing with that. So I'm just learning. I want better. I want better for myself, and
Mhm.
at the same time doing that without living in regret of, well, I lost years, or I lost that understanding that God and or the universe, however you call it, will bring you what you need when you appreciate it and can maintain
Mm.
it. So I'm allowed to be very talented and be a mess at the same time, understanding that I'm allowed to grow and evolve.
Love it. And while I have you on, what is something brief that you will want to share with with our viewing audience on this evening?
Me?
Yes. Why you
Woo!
up?
Um, sometimes things that we fought in times past does come back, and
Mm.
we have to be willing to do the work to fight again and not
Love
get
it.
tired of fighting.
Love it. Thank you so much. Danny, talk to us. What is one thing that you would want to leave the panel and the viewers with tonight?
Mhm. One of the things I want to leave the viewers with tonight is I give you permission to be the authentic person that you were created and designed to be. And you are enough. The narrative that you thought you've been living, you get to change that tonight, because I'm declaring right now that you're living an authentic life that's dedicated for you and only you.
Whew, thank you. Herm, talk to us, brother.
What I would want to leave, don't let society or anybody tell you what a man is. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so many ideals that we heard growing up. Man, a man don't do this. Man does this. Man, be your definition of a man is for you.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I would leave. Like,
Thank you,
don't
sir.
let nobody
Thank
tell
you.
you what a man is.
Thank you. John, talk to us.
I think it goes back to something that was said earlier. I know that sometimes we feel this burden to help other people and to be there and to support other people. But one of the biggest ways that we can be there for other people is being ourselves, showing our authentic selves. Because I do believe that there are people who are waiting on what we carry, what we possess individually, to really help them shift their narrative, to help them maybe go to their next level. And so by being you, doing what you were meant to do on this earth and just being authentically yourself, that's going to be enough to help somebody else. And so that's what I would leave everyone with tonight.
Thank you so much. And thank you to our panelists that was on tonight. If you have not done so, Danny Ross has an awesome workbook for Black men called The Messages We Carry. I use it with my clients. I use it with myself. Please, Jasmine, drop the link in the chat if you can. Go get that book. Purchase that book. Support each other. This panel tonight was designed for you all who are watching tonight to see the difference, the dynamics, the relationships, the realness, and who they are as individuals. We did not come on this show tonight to fake, to front. We gave you who we are. And that's what I love about the people that I'm connected with. Because there's the difference with being connected to someone and connected with someone. When you're connected with someone, you can grow with them. When you connect yourself to something, it's like a magnet. You can take it on and off. And I thank my guests. I thank my panelists. I thank my friends. Most of all, they are my friends. They hold me accountable. I hold them accountable. And as we are closing out Move Mountains and Break Barriers Season 2, this is going to be a continued conversation. Because what I think that we as individuals have to do, we have to bring awareness that it's okay to be the cool guy and still have emotions. It's okay to be the man, but still talk about those messages that we still are burying from our childhood and our adulthood and our middle age. It's okay to have all of the ladies around, all of the fellas around, and still be lost. We got to continue to have these type of discussions so individuals can understand that they are not living in the world alone. If you want to receive continued support, follow these fellas on Instagram, follow them on social media. They all have a dynamic platform. And as we are closing out this show, I want to say thank you for everything that you have done for me, supporting me during season 2. We are taking a break. Thomas needs some self-care. I have to listen to that message myself. So I'm going to take a month off to just relax, to be honest, and focus on what I want to bring to you for season 2. For season 3. Thank you all so much. But before I go, there is something that is coming up in the DC, the Maryland, and the Virginia area, and it's going to be on September the 24th, 2022. And I am honored to announce that Limitless Possibilities mentoring program, which is called AIM, Accelerating, Illuminating, Magnifying Our Full Potential, will be having its inaugural fundraiser gala. All of this is designed for us to raise funds for mentoring, for life coaching, for tutoring, for all of the supports that our young people need here in the District of Columbia, Maryland, and Virginia. So please follow all of our social media outlets. We are going to supersede our goal of $10,000. And I believe when you do what I'm doing here today and what I've been doing in these past seasons, by being authentic, by being myself, that I will receive my blessings 100-fold. Yes, I went churchy on you all, but this fundraiser is not about me. It's about understanding the needs of our people here in the nation's capital. So until then, stay safe, wear a mask. I love you, and have a great summer. Take care.
All the power that lies within thee. Black kings and queens who we will and shall be. Know that we bleed and breathe royalty. Love with the loyalty. Glow got me loving myself. Black skin my cover is hugging myself. Live for the mental and spiritual. But remember we limitless. DNA royal, not menaces. Know that we limitless. Brothers and sisters and aunts, know the power be limitless. DNA royal, not menaces. Know that we limitless. Brothers and sisters and aunts, know the power be